Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whenever you're tuning in here, either via whatever platform. Thanks so much for joining today. Marc Wagner, your host, DentalBytes. To keep the lights on, I do have to mention a couple of our awesome sponsors. One of them being Smile Sonica, a great piece of software they've developed and hardware, both married together. The AVO system. So if you're doing orthodontics in your practice, the AVO system actually impacts osteoclasts and osteoblasts with LIPUS, which is low intensity pulsed ultrasound. You're seeing cases half the treatment duration and also move smoother in practice. Check them out at smilesonica.com. And also a great entry-level marketing offer. Go to dentistondemand.com, get your practice listed. We have plans starting as low as $50 a month that are seeing great traction. So go check out dentistondemand.com and get your practice on there. We have some good ones on there and some good patient traffic coming through those practices. And now, completely derailed, I'm going to bring you on, Amreesh. I got Dr. Amreesh Khanna. Like you're doing all sorts of things. You know, you got OraQ on the go. I know we were talking at the PDC that you don't want to, you want to be seen. You're doing all these things. You want like everybody to be aware of, like, you're not just focused on this one project. First of all, thanks for coming on. And second is, you've been all over the place, my friend. You must be exhausted right now. You're just, weren't you just in Arizona or something like yesterday?
Well, it's thank you. First of all, Mark, for having me on your podcast. Really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to finally get connected here together on this, because I know we've been wanting to do this for a while. So yeah. Thanks for having me as a guest. I'd say I love dentistry and all things in dentistry. So I'm doing a lot of things in dentistry. And, from spanning an AI technology company to OraQ to an education platform, Adept dental education, and just, in and out of so much stuff, right? And so, travel's been crazy lately. So definitely when we met one another last week at PDC, I was in 10 days, 3 countries and all around the world. So I was between the US, Europe, and then back to Canada all in 10 days to run the booth there. So so it was a busy week. That's for sure. Are
you gaining some traction? Like have these events been have they been good for you?
Yeah, definitely. I was very excited about PDC this year. This is my 3rd year attending PDC and really promoting what we've been doing with AI and dentistry and OraQ. Started 2 years ago, just kind of walking the floor, meeting people in meetings and that kind of thing. And then last year we had a booth, 2 booths last year, our own, and then became partners also with Patterson Dental Canada. So we were inside their booth. And, a lot of cool conversations, people interested about what's happening in AI and dentistry in that space. But, people were wanting to be educated about it, right? And then this year we showed up and I said, okay, you know what? Sometimes, people are still trying to learn what this is all about. That's what we're here to tell them about. But we had a ton of interest and a ton of quality conversations and walked away with some solid leads. So I was pumped. So it was a great couple of days out there.
Yeah, then like being on the back of the Patterson booth too, like you're on just main alley there where you have the dental corps and then 123 and the big distributors. Like it was very busy this year. I felt it was a good show.
Yeah, I agree too. So I think there was some conversation around, was it less attendance this year than last year? But I mean, I felt like it was busy. Right. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's, it's less about the number of people, but the quality of the people in the conversations, right? 100%.
You get a lot of, and it's just no knock to anybody, like the people floating around the floor, it depends on if it's like the team members or, for a vendor to spend the amount of money to get onto the floor, you really want to see that ROI and have some of those decision makers in the practice come and have those in-depth conversations, especially with a software like or an AI, and we can dive into it here in a sec, like OraQ. There's a bit of an education there. Like it's awesome when you get to spend the time with people, especially face to face, right? It's tough to convey all this stuff digitally here, and here we are on a podcast. But just having one-on-one is always the best, and then always connecting with everybody too, like the networking aspect and seeing people that you really sometimes some of those folks you saw them at the last PDC. It's we're all in this battle here. Let's reverse a little bit in time here, Amreesh. Where did this whole entrepreneurial spirit start for you? Did it start before dentistry? Did it, let's hear a little bit about your roots and, where did you grow up? And we'll start there and see where this goes.
Sure. Sounds good. Yeah. So, I'm a born in Canada. Calgary is my home. So that's where I was born and raised, and still here in Calgary. I think when you ask where did my entrepreneurial buzz come from, I'd say, I have to attribute that one to my dad. He was definitely very excited and interested about always, doing something outside of just the day-to-day, whether that was investing in something or starting something up or doing this and that. So, I think that buzz, I definitely caught on with it, and, it became a part of my life without me knowing it over the years and growing up. Got into, into dental school at the University of Alberta. I always had a keen interest in healthcare, really was interested in medicine, dentistry. And, dentistry was the choice that I made because it afforded a bit more autonomy and the ability to own a business if I wanted to, differently than, medicine provides, right? And so that's one of the reasons that I even went down that route. So did my dental school at University of Alberta, really dove into surgery was what I really loved from clinical practice side of things. So I did a general practice residency after that out in New York. So I lived out in the Big Apple. What a
great city. Oh, I love New York is awesome. Sorry. I just had to jump in.
It definitely is. And, when I was like 23, 24 years old living out there, it was such a cool experience, right?
There's so much to explore in that city. Yeah. Anyways, cool. So New York, where did you go from New York?
So then New York, back to Canada and back to Calgary again too. So I was always thinking about, what did I want to do? My mentor from the U of A, who was the head of oral surgery, said, go do a GPR, see what it's like. The good thing about in Canada is it's not saturated with, tons of specialty providers everywhere. If you like doing that as a GP, you can do it as a GP. If you like a little bit of everything, you can keep doing a little bit of everything. If you don't like a little bit of everything, then go specialize, right? And so Monty was a big program heavy on dental implants, sedation, wisdom teeth extraction, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I loved. I came back and said, let me find my way to carve out a way of doing that as a GP. And I started working at multiple practices, introducing implants, IV sedation, wisdom teeth, bone grafting, tissue grafting, all that kind of stuff to different practices where they might have been, referring the bulk of that out before. So that's how I started my clinical journey.
Awesome. And you have brick and mortar practice now, right?
Yeah. So I guess to tap into sort of how I then pivoted into owning practices. So about 5 years into me being an associate, through that journey, met my wife, who's also a dentist. My brother graduated as a dentist, and we said, let's, buy a practice together. So we bought a practice in 2012 from a retiring doc, just, in Beltline, Calgary. And had a very interesting initial journey of entrepreneurship where 1 year into owning that practice,
right,
the 100-year flood hit Calgary, right? And so our practice was in the middle of that, and we actually, literally watching the water rise, the embodiment of my hard work, investment, my future, all these things kind of washing away before my eyes, right? So a moment that was very humbling, that even describing it still today doesn't quite capture it, but something that I'll never forget. But it really set me on a different path. Like, that's the cool thing about that is I got to say, I look back now and see that, it really forced me, of course, to think about resilience and growth in a different way. And I, had to, roll up my sleeves and put my belt and suspenders on to understand the business of dentistry. So I really started to dive deep into everything business at that point. And so understanding, joined a big business development coaching and mentorship group called Tech Canada, and did additional certifications on, everything financials. I call myself a data junkie. I loved all the numbers. And I said, well, I got to learn the ins and outs of everything from P&Ls, cash flow statements, balance sheets, and so on. Did a leadership program called the Inner MBA on socially conscious leadership through NYU. And then that's kind of when I started moving to the other things that you were sharing in the intro thereafter.
Well, I mean, the it happens for a reason. Is it's not fun, but somebody like yourself, and like how many of your colleagues out there are great at what they do chairside, but the whole business aspect of things, it's a tough wearing all those hats, right? Like there's a lot of moving parts to a practice, isn't there?
Totally. And I think, we're blessed and fortunate to be in the profession of dentistry, where I truly believe you do what's right for your patient, and, make sure you're staying on top of your education and the latest and the greatest. But you do what's right for your patient, you're going to grow a thriving practice. So we're blessed with, you don't have to be a business genius to succeed in the business of dentistry. But if you really want to start taking it to the next level, and really, if that's what interests you, then hey, there's a lot of things to learn, right? And that's where I was just naturally forced to have to learn it all very quick within a year of ownership.
Yeah. And it's good. Like there are a lot of good supporting folks out there too, like to help support the business or marketing or whatever that might be. But to have like a general understanding of those things, and to have the time to immerse yourself into it. Like, I'm sure what an awful thing to go through, but maybe maybe a blessing in disguise, right? You just got to keep moving forward, put your pants on, and keep going, right? Because
Yeah. Exactly. And, something that I really like what you mentioned, Darren, if it's okay to share a bit what I'm doing on my education side.
Of course. Yeah.
You said the support and the mentors and that kind of thing, right? And I attribute the years after that, flood incident, a ton of my growth came from mentors and support networks in the dental community and larger business community in general too, to really say, okay, how could I start thinking differently, start, understanding and being vulnerable and open around what I needed to learn and grow, but knowing that I had the support there to do it, right? And so I attribute, I have great mentors, and still to this day, I believe in, having the right people around you to fill in the gaps that you don't know is so critical. So even through my journey with OraQ and, all of this, I've had business coaches, mentors and advisors that are part of that, right? So it's something on my education platform, Adept Dental Education. I've really created what I call the Limitless Mastership Program that takes kind of this way. And how can you be limitless with whatever it is you're trying to do and grow in your business or your life? But what I built and I wanted to bring to that was what I call your personal advisory board, because for me, these people who helped me through that journey were the sounding boards for me when I had those moments or those hard decisions where I'm like, way in over my head on something, and I was like, I don't know what to do. But you can't always, you got to come across a certain way to your team sometimes, and you feel that pressure. Who do you have that you can ask the open, sometimes what we might say the stupid questions to, right? And be able to know that somebody's going to not judge you and give you some guidance because they've been through it in some way, right? So just thought I'd share that when you said it, because those are the people that helped me get through what I did, and totally. Something that I'm really trying to give back and find a way to do the same.
So let's dive into that. Like what aspects, what key things as this whole platform supporting? Like, well, let's dive into it.
Yeah, so my education platform is called Adept Dental Education, and really what my focus is around accelerating implementations of learning. And it's largely focused around clinical surgical procedures and then the business of dentistry. And just given my clinical and business background, it kind of stemmed from just organically with colleagues asking me and saying, hey, I want to place my first implant, or I'm trying to do this wisdom tooth case. Can you help me? Or, I'm an associate moving into wanting to own a practice, or I just bought my first practice. Like, how do I do this or that? Or I'm dealing with this HR issue, or I don't know how to do payroll. Or how do I look at my numbers? So just helping people over time, I was like, like, there's definitely a need for this. And if there's a way that we can help clinicians, and I can share the crazy experiences that I've gone through, so they don't have to deal with these mistakes or the issues themselves. So that's how I founded it and said, like, you know what, let me create a program here. But the unique thing that I really focus on is one-to-one mentorship. So I'm really there working specifically with the doctor on their, what I call their personal, professional, and financial goals. So meeting them where they're at, aligning those three, I think, is what's really important, and driving your personal vision. I've got behind me here, like, inspire, influence, educate, my personal values, and really saying, like, how do we make what we do meaningful? Because I think depending on the time and journey that a listener, his listeners might be in the dental space, at some point everything that we do can become a job, right? And like, how do you keep igniting that interest and excitement about what you want to do? And it has to serve something personally. That's what I truly believe.
Yeah.
And so bringing those things together. So I meet them where they're at, really understand where they're at today, where do they want to grow, and why. And then let's create a cool plan. So then if it's clinical, I'm in their hands-on chairside. We plan cases together. I'm holding their hand, mentoring them in that crazy grafting case or implant or wisdom tooth case, so they can feel confident. But really seeing the results is what drives me, is that these clinicians in 3 months, what they're doing, and I've spent the hundreds of thousands of dollars in these CE courses, and they're spending it too, but you come back and it's about how do you put it into practice when it's all on your shoulders.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. Right?
And I've had this conversation so many times. Like, there's so many great courses and things to go to CE, but it's all about that Monday morning, isn't it? Like, and then having the team too involved in that new, whatever that might be, whether it's technology or knowledge, it's difficult to roll out, isn't it?
Absolutely, right. And its implementation, I think, is the hardest part of it all. Right. And, it's one thing to create a system and process in a great workshop and amazing lectures and courses that we go to, but you got to do it with your team and your patient. Right. And I think that's when the confidence that comes from seeing that you can do it then allows you to do what you learned in that big weekend course 10 times quicker. Right. So,
yeah. Are you finding that a lot of your colleagues are having a difficult time finding that purpose? Like, how much of it is self-discovery, especially, like out of dental school, being green, there's, you almost need to go back into school to learn all of the newest technology that's available. How important is the mentor, and also, at the other side of it, the folks that I've talked to, the veteran dentists out there that have really enjoyed their careers, or like now they're enjoying it even more, like giving back, like, and being that mentor. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Like,
I agree. Yeah, it's like when you see, when I was in school, one of my instructors at the time always talked about, like, see one, do one, teach one. Right? Like, and that's what they said was a way to kind of go about, okay, if you're learning a procedure, because you observe it and you see it and then you go do it. But when you can actually get to be able to teach it, like, you feel like you've mastered a skill, but you're also seeing how do you actually make somebody else now go through the see one, do one, teach one. Right.
Yeah.
And so, I find it extremely fulfilling. And I think like clinical discovery, like you said, finding your purpose and that why, like, I think the clinical discovery journey, there's a lot of support out there for it, right? Like, there's amazing conferences, courses, study clubs, all these kind of things that will keep you on top of the latest and the greatest on something that you're really interested in clinically to provide care to your patients. But I don't think we talk often enough about the personal why.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
And that's the piece that I think a mentor is really important with, because even if I'm mentoring and working with some doctors and it's really about a clinical piece, like, your mentor is the one who challenges you with that, right? And that's what I do is like, okay, because I've been challenged, right? I've been challenged to say, well, why did you create this? Why did you do that? Why are you going and getting another practice? Why are you creating a technology company? Like, what's going on here?
You're crazy, right? You're like a bit crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And we believe whatever you believe inside our head. And one of my coaches, she always says, like, I'm in the container, but she's not. She's outside the container, observing and watching it all move and happen. And when you're so in it, it's hard to ask yourself those questions, right? And explore it too. So having somebody you can truly trust, be honest, open, whatever that is about, shed a tear, whatever needs to happen to really be able to have a real conversation. And I think that's where the biggest personal growth for me has come from, and what I hope to be able to give to others too.
Well, and the confidence too, and coming out of your shell and becoming whatever that beautiful thing is that you're meant to be too, right? Like that's, I think part of the pursuit is that discovery of self too. Like, we all set off and have this sort of in the box idea of how it's all going to play out. But what a beautiful thing to have somebody that's kind of been through it, been in the trenches, to then offer that guidance. And I think the industry itself benefits from that whole setup, right? Like that is sort of the scientific method in a nutshell. Like we're going to progress, especially with all this new technology and workflow. If you're saving somebody the pain and the blood, sweat, and tears that you went through, and giving them the cheat code, if you will, like that's the pathway that I want to be on, Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I'll share something kind of on a personal level. I don't know if we're going too deep here, Mark, or not, but
I like to go to those. I'm not like, if anybody knows me, like superficial conversation, you can only talk about the weather for so long before I am out. I like to get into the bits. So let's go.
Well, so as I've, began this whole journey now, 4 some years ago into founding OraQ AI and this technology company, like I knew nothing about starting a technology startup. Like I'm a dentist. I'm a practicing dentist, business owner as a dentist, but I knew nothing about technology and AI in a tech startup world. So I got exposed to a lot of amazing opportunities to see leaders in the AI and technology space, people who are running, unicorn billion-dollar companies now, to leaders in like gurus in the AI space, whatever it might be, and they're on a panel or they're doing a lecture in front of me that I would find so inspiring. And when you're in a startup, like you have to learn how to become like this master storyteller and pitcher, because you are always having to pitch your story because you're getting investment or whatever. And I'd always like look up to these people and say, these are like, look at how they do it. Like they're so confident on the stage. They're so amazing. Like I got to keep practicing. I got to keep finding ways to be like them. Right. And then as I progressed with what I was doing and got to know some of these people and had the privilege of meeting them and maybe having a personal conversation to somebody that I looked up to in a big way, what I realized is like, everybody's a human still, right? Yeah. Like the person that's on that stage that, I'm like, holy, they've got it figured out. They're like amazing at what they're doing. They're still like figuring stuff out. They're still nervous about getting on that stage too.
Yeah.
They're still like, like it's all these like little things that, at least me, I'd be like, wow, they're not feeling any of that. Like I'm nervous and I'm about to go do this and I'm taking this step that I don't know what I'm doing with and so on. Like, how do you get it all figured out? But then you just realize like at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter who people are, like we're still just human at our core, right?
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, when I started kind of realizing that, I think it took a little pressure off of me in the sense that, this person that's on stage that I look up to and they're speaking to 2,000 people, they still get the jitters maybe before they're going up there, or they still got notes in their hand and they're not, doing it all verbatim or whatever too. So yeah, I don't know if I totally sidetracked that.
No, and like that rings home. Like I did that. I ran around at the PDC interviewing all over the floor, and one of my favorites in the industry is Dr. Jan Jaffer, and he confessed to his social anxiety. Well, like now he's conquered that and gone up onto stages, and really, he related in the fact that like, hey, I'm just talking about something that I'm super passionate about, right? So that's where you dive into, and I think we all eventually we're all able to become the humans that we're going to become if we just kind of allow ourselves to flow into whatever that passion is going to be. I think if you have the luxury and the privilege to pursue these things, it's obviously not for the faintest of heart, and there's lots of sacrifice and risk. But the whole entrepreneurial thing, and that's why I went after it, is you don't have to beat anybody else's drum, and you get to be creative and figure out your own path, and then get into this position where you're on this level of collaboration with people. It's such high vibration, such high level stuff that it's such a beautiful thing, right? Especially, if you want to cause a positive impact, and you are one of those folks out there that are on that pursuit. It's so satisfying, isn't it? It's like you wake up, you're just that much more happier to get out of bed or travel all over the world like you're doing, right? You're chasing the tiger, or, you got the tiger by the tail, and it's a ton of fun. How much? Yeah.
I was just to say, yeah, and I love what you were sharing about Jan. Definitely somebody that's done amazing things too, and saying about how he's passionate about that. And I'd say that's the thing, because whatever we're doing that we're challenging ourselves with, it's that passion and that belief in whatever we're about to share or do or say or build or create or whatever it might be, that I think gets us up. And I'm sure you felt that you're doing all this amazing stuff too, where it's like some days like this is hard stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you're getting beat down, knocked down, whatever it is. But what gets you back up to be able to say, I need to share this again, or I need to find a way to solve this, or whatever it is. If you don't have that belief or that passion, I think you're not going to keep doing it, and you're not going to keep driving with it, right?
Yeah, and I think the more you flourish and put yourself out there, the more people approach you. Like, hey, I saw you and having this conversation. This really connected with me, and I want to thank you. Like, having some of those conversations around on the PDC floor and through the network, it keeps me going. Like, it's you don't want to ever your work is you're just spinning your tires and you're not hitting the mark, or you're not making an impact. It's really neat to be in a position to make an impact. And then, surrounding yourself with other people that are also, doing their best to make an impact as well in positive ways. Honestly, through this pursuit, it's given me hope. And there's a lot of negative things that we can focus on that are happening around the planet right now. But I have confidence that, us as a human species we'll figure it out, because there's the more that I've put myself out there, obviously there's not there are not some great humans, but I think in most part everybody's just trying to do the right thing and raise families, and you know what I mean. It's a cool thing. Yeah.
And that energy is it's infectious, right? So
totally.
That's
Yeah. And I can tell you're that guy, connected through our network. Everybody's like, oh, you got to meet this guy. I'm trying, I'm trying. He's just everywhere. So you got this education program going on. When did OraQ start? And I really want to dive into how, obviously we have other diagnostic AIs out there. How is it different?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's been an amazing journey being a part of, I think the introduction and advent and leading the way on AI in clinical dentistry. So what we've built out at OraQ is we're a clinical intelligence platform that brings in different diagnostic clinical data sets into a one-page, one-click, what we call our wellness profile dashboard. And what we're there to do is we take all that data and give the clinician a very clear view on what this patient is sitting in our chair, and we call it a risk assessment. So we look at the patient in up to 7 key areas, help you understand right away, my patient's lying in my chair, what's their cavity risk, what's their gum health risk, what's going on in their bite, what should I dive deeper in to look at so I know how do I evaluate that patient in a deeper way. And then most importantly, how do I communicate it in a way together with the patient through a co-discovery approach so they understand? And it really comes down to the simplicity of, are you in the green, yellow, or red? Nobody wants to be in the yellow or red. So, hey, let's have a conversation on how do we get you healthier, right?
Mm-hmm. Let's dive into this. How unavoidable is AI? It is... sneaking its way into every aspect of our lives. How impactful is it to have these data sets? And obviously these, the more we dive into these these different models, whether that's to generate visuals or write an email. The further along we get with these tools, the stronger they become. The point where I think, especially, we can dive into the diagnostic side of things. Like, how quickly will this stuff become just standard practice?
Well, so technically what a solution like OraQ is what's called a clinical decision support system. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so what we're trying to do with that is how do we optimize the value of a patient interaction where it matters the most? And so we're not here to replace a clinician, but you're here to help them make better decisions so they can do the right care at the right time for the right reasons, right? And if we can do that and automate, optimize tasks rather than us having to look here, look there, go find it. Do I even have the time to go look into the other system? Do I forget that something today? I'm still human, right? Is a system like OraQ is to bring all that in a standardized way that drives consistency and clarity around patient evaluation, right? So I think to your question about like where is AI and how deeply is this going to be intertwined into our future? I mean, as you said, it's here in our lives in every single way now. And I think how it's going to be part of healthcare definitely go forward is here. It's here to stay. I'm deeply involved in some cool things with medical dental integration. And, if you look at what happened at the start of year 2026, the big players in the AI space, like OpenAI with ChatGPT, Anthropic, Google, all announced what they're building, their healthcare specific models. So there's ChatGPT Health will be coming out here soon. And on OpenAI stated over 230 million people input a medical health related question into ChatGPT weekly. That's insane.
Yeah.
Right? That's insane.
Yep.
So, here I'm on the world to solve that for dental. I'm going to be your dental ChatGPT of that world, right?
Yeah.
But it's just showing you how we're interacting, how we're starting to look at incorporating those tools into everything that we make a decision about our own health. So, hey, as a healthcare practitioners, we better be incorporating these tools to make sure we're using the right information to decide on the patient's health as well, too. Right?
Yeah. And honestly, we can travel down the whole diagnostic side too. Like I'm thinking, a magical best case, and it's maybe not magical, it's a reality now, is, you have an AI looking at a CT scan or, and circling like a cancer that might have been missed or something along those lines, and just vastly improving people's probability to overcome things like cancers and things like that. It's that's what a time to live, isn't it? Like
totally is.
I'm an 80s, born in the 80s. You look a little bit younger than me, but born in
the 80s too, my friend. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So like you and I, like if we take a look at sort of just like the music industry and how we consumed music from cassette tapes, recording. Yeah. I remember sitting around and recording songs that I liked off the radio, to now like having these things that are like, they're a little bit of a disease, but how incredible is it to have like the full extent of humans music library at the touch of my fingertips on my phone that I can like wire into my glasses here. Like it's so wild. Like with your conversations with OraQ, like what's sort of what do you think the gap in understanding? What are the sort of the misconceptions with these conversations that you're driving in? What's sort of the normal ones that come up?
Like with dentists or other clinicians trying to look at how to use an AI tool today like this?
Correct. Yeah. What are you seeing? Like, what are some sort of like some voids in understanding?
So I think what I see here is I think everybody's kind of wrapping their heads around now. Like this is, AI in some way, shape, or form is going to be touching every part of our life, right? I think, call it a year ago, we would have still been saying, okay, how do we get people to understand that that's going to be a part of it? But that's come a long way with just tools like ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
But I think from a clinical perspective, What I really focus on when educating what's happening in the AI in medical and dental space is around understanding how to work with an AI tool first, because at the end of the day, it's all about the data, right? And so we got to look at the right information. The system needs to be able to capture the right information to be able to give you the best output of whatever it is you're trying to do, whether that be from an image, whether it be from patient records, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to know how to work with it and understand the limitations today of what happens with a term we call data interoperability. Because sometimes the expectation from, I think, clinicians today is, well, that thing should just be doing everything for me, and it should just be a button inside every one of my systems. And why doesn't it touch this thing? And why can you not get that? And why can you not get that? Of course, if I put my clinician hat on, I want it to be like that too, right? But as a builder of a company in that space, the amount of headaches that a company like us goes through to have to build integrations with various sources. So we're pulling in data from your dental practice management system, like your Dentrix or ClearDent or whatever. We're pulling in information here now soon from intraoral scans, so 3D scans, from X-ray AI. We're also one of the first dental companies connected to an Epic, one of the largest medical record systems in North America. But to get there, the amount of work companies like us have to do to be able to connect all those dots. So now we're connected to now be able to say, hey, can you just put us in as a button somewhere? There's a commercial business side of that too, right? These other systems are like, hold on. What are you doing? We can't just give you access to our customers and all that stuff right away. So I want this to happen like tomorrow, but there's a process to get through that. And then the other piece is understanding regulatory, privacy, security, right? Yeah. So if I'm going to navigate and work with a system like this, especially with patient privacy information, this is a very high level of secure private information that we need to be navigating. How do compliance work? How does regulatory approvals work? We've had to go through Health Canada, FDA, all these different regulatory process to get to where we're at. But that to not just put a stamp there, but to also, I feel like as a clinician who is going to be using it, is already using it, or wants to use it in the future, understand what that means, so that you should. Even though I build an AI company, it doesn't mean you trust everything that comes out of an AI solution blindly. Yeah. But you shouldn't also question it in every single way. Find that happy medium in the middle by being informed and educated as to how do these systems work and what parameters of compliance or regulations are they working within. So now you can say, okay, that's why it's doing it this way for me. And now how do I leverage that technology to do what I'm trying to do better? Right? Yeah. And so, yeah.
Like even Claude says, hey, sometimes I make mistakes, right? Like sure you second. Yeah. Like if we're using it sort of like as a guide, I think we're that much further along. And like just the conversation around data and who owns data. Here I am wearing Meta glasses, like probably recording everything in this bloody room right now, right? It's scary. And I'm the idiot that's still wearing them, You hear about these people like working for Meta that are, anyways, I don't want to dive there, but there's a lot of loopholes in privacy, especially when it comes to medical too, right? Like that is, in terms of like hacking, that is some of the most valuable information to get your hands on. It's happening. Like people are already using these tools. Like I've asked like veterinarian questions in either Claude or ChatGPT. It's super useful. Or you take, I don't know if it's doing it anymore. You take a picture of a bump or whatever, and it gives you sort of like breakdown on what that could be. But that's kind of where we're going, isn't it? Like, and then we'll, get into the quantum computing and robotics conversation when we're all having a robot folding all our laundry, and it's like our general doctor in, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of the way we're going. I think right now is like everybody's sort of getting their heads wrapped around that it's going to be a normal thing. Like even Elon Musk was like screaming at the top of the hills about the dangers of unlocking this thing, but here we go. We're traveling down this path, and in my business, like I couldn't run my business now without some of these amazing AI tools that I'm using, like to produce at the scale that produce at the scale that I can produce at. It's going to turn into sort of a world where if you're not utilizing these tools in your practice, in your business, you're going to be left behind. And, a lot of what these tools are doing is like, it's just freeing up so much time. Like, if it's making your workflow that much, like, and how much of a practice is all about that, like systems, right?
Exactly.
Like, in your education, how much do you dive into dialing up, like, and buttoning down systems, right? It's crazy. Like, sometimes that makes or breaks a practice. If we're opening up these like opportunities to do more dentistry while these systems are doing their thing in the background, like how much better can the folks in this industry sleep at night? It's one of the most stressful industries to be in, one of the highest suicide rates. So what if you have a tool like OraQ, in the background, and it's just helping you helping you just like take a breath every now and then, that's like, I'm a hopeful guy. You don't want these people to use these tools for anything sort of malicious, but we're seeing some beautiful things happening, and I will always remain hopeful until like that becomes like, maybe my business is underwater, but like we always like like think you are like a product of that story of we just keep moving forward, right? Like that's all we can do. Yeah.
Earlier in the call, our recording here too, like at the end of the day, I think I still truly believe the bulk of people still want to do good, like you said too, right?
Yeah.
And so if we're using this and we're finding the proper ethical ways to use it, it's going to be making our lives easier, making our ability to take care of patients that much more effective and optimal. And I think if we forced to follow, I think that's the opportunity that we have right now in the dental profession, is like, let's be a part of this, let's shape it. There's so many great companies, whether it's clinical AI like us, there's radiographic AI, there's AI in the front end, on phone call management and patient booking and things, there's back end on insurance. But you have a chance right now to be a part of shaping those, because a lot of these companies are startups and early stage companies still, where they're looking for that feedback. We're looking for that feedback to say, hey, give everybody a chance, use the product, see the value, and help us shape what we need to do next, right? And then so we can be a part of that future together. And I think people are listening. Like I had presented last fall at the Alberta Dental Association, and the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta actually put on this symposium on AI to be able to have a conversation, brought the ADA, brought other regulators and things in, and even just one of our other partners in the U.S., the University of Pacific Dental School, Arthur Dagoni Dental School, just had an AI and oral health symposium back in January where I spoke at. So the conversations are to happen to bring awareness and say, listen, it's not just us using it in private practice. Yeah, we got to get our associations and colleges behind us. We got to get educational institutions behind us. We got to get research behind us. We got to get all the partners and the whole ecosystem that are so connected in, Mark. Like everybody behind that. Hey, we can shape this future together, right? So
yeah, and that's I mean, back to the beginning of our conversation and like collaboration, and just following your passions and your purpose. Like that's the folks that are forming these things right now, and they're sort of like our babies, aren't they, in a way, right? Like that's what it turns into. And what a cool thing to be at the precipice of something like this, that truly our world is going to be something unrecognizable, I think. And I'm truly hopeful in the best way possible in the next 30 years as, this technology kind of all just kind of does what it's going to do. Like I picture the time where, I've got like this great assistant, like I'm a Marvel's fan. So, like, like having like a Jarvis, like, Mark, you're coming up on your next podcast. It's time to ask. Like it's all like heads up. And then I'm going down to my car that's driving me home or to my next appointment, and I'm able to sort of get out of the minutia things, the low value things, and just continue to like have sort of more of like a high frequency, more impactful thought process rather than figuring out like, oh man, I got to get home and fold the laundry or something like that. Hopefully the cost of entry of all these things, and that by the way that it sounds like it's going to be sort of like everybody will have access to this technology in the future. Like the last thing.
That was one of the inspirations behind the name OraQ, because it was like Jarvis, Aramis, Q to James Bond, Robin to Batman, that kind of thing. And so Q in our logo is actually a magnifying glass that kind of dives deeper, looks inside the patient,
you got it. I love it. Yeah. Branding is important.
And your trusty assistant, right? So Q as your assistant. Yeah.
And that's the beautiful future that I think, it's tough to get there right now and think about positive things. But I think, the way that we get through troubled and difficult times is like the good ones focus on positive things, ensuring everybody that we're heading in the right direction, and maybe taking back control of the ones that have malicious intent with it all. I don't know. You hopefully, but we're going existential now. But so how does it all come together now? Like you've got the education center, you've got OraQ. How do you see sort of the future in Amreesh world, like kind of all just melding together into this beautiful singular entity?
I mean, at the end of the day, all of these things are focused around us driving better care for our patients and loving what we do day in, day out in the field of dentistry, right? Like that's what I love and that's what I'm passionate about. So I think whether that's through my education and giving back through there and helping people treat their patients and do some fun, cool procedures that they thought they could never do, and or incorporating AI in your day-to-day so that you can really be leading the future and driving how this technology is going to help you optimize the care in every one of your patients in a consistent and standardized manner. So all comes back to who we're serving. And I think, hey, if we do that right, then we're all going to have great, successful businesses, make a huge impact, and come out financially ahead as well too, right? So all things put together.
Yeah, and that's, I think there's plenty, enough of this. Like it's always been about competition, right? And beating the other guy. I think now that the world is sort of fragmenting into all these specialty niche things, it's kind of turning into this, like, we need to sort of collaborate because we're so spread out on doing all of these things that, it shouldn't be like this tribal thing that's going on a bigger scale. Obviously, I think that maybe that's part of this fight that's happening right now is, I see it. I see, folks like yourself or Jan Jaffer or Dr. Gordon Chi. Like Dr. Gordon Chi's doing some really cool things too in the education front. But it's all to sort of, it's all about collaboration and sharing information. And, you said like yourself, you're a data guy. How like impactful is it if you have a good set of data to circumnavigate your future, right? If you're looking at a regular dashboard and you have the pulse of things, like how important is that to your business? Like, obviously you don't follow it as the gospel, or you're using it sort of as an eyeball for the future, right?
Yeah, and I mean, data doesn't lie, right? That's the thing, is like it doesn't bring a bias and things to it. Like we can combine our gut with the data, and I think then we can get a great outcome in whatever we're trying to get to, right?
We can certainly try. Okay, just on the two fronts here, OraQ, what's the best method here now to get in touch?
Yeah, please, happy to have a conversation with any listeners around any of this stuff, whether they're interested in OraQ. Check out our site, oraq.ai. Mark, you can share my contact details as well too, but just my first name, Amreesh, at oraq.ai as well. And then, yes, on the education side, dramreesh.com. Feel free to check out following me on any of the socials as well too, LinkedIn, Instagram. I love chatting about these things. Really appreciate the opportunity again to be here, and hope your listeners found something valuable today, and happy to chat about any of this stuff, go forward for sure.
Finally, I locked you down for 6 seconds, right? I appreciate it too. Thank you for your time. Is there anything sort of top of mind, impactful, one word, one paragraph statements that you'd love to share?
I think just stay excited about what this is all going to do for us, right? I think that was the theme around what we've been talking today. There's so many cool things that are happening around us. Stay excited, keep moving forward with it, and see how you can, educate and empower yourself to drive the future that you're looking for as well.
Awesome, man. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.